Has our destiny in store for us a similar suffering? Lahiri Mahasaya and other saints are a mirror for all Kriyabins. What happened in their body may one day happen in our body. Surely we are far away from Lahiri Mahasaya's sublime state of consciousness. We have not the spiritual realization, devotion and surrender of the saints, but we can patiently turn our heart toward this new dimension of the spiritual path. If we constantly and inexorably exclude any difficult achievement from our dreams and goals, our spiritual venture risks falling apart. What we can do now is to perfect endlessly our Kriya Pranayam, knowing that it will lead us on a higher plan of spiritual realization. In particular, each effort to come near to the practice of pranayam with internal breath will guide our awareness to touch the collective unconscious. Through this practice we do not move toward a spiritual dimension wholly cut off from the physical plane, but toward the deeper and most real dimension of the divine inside the matter, inside the consciousness of all mankind. The cells of the body are like doors that lead exactly to that dimension. All this will become part of our lives, not as an object of theoretical speculation but as a practical discovery. Lahiri Mahasaya said, "The whole universe is in the body, the whole universe is the final self." It is now time to realize what he meant by such statement. 6. The alternative. Sri Aurobindo wrote, "Seeking heaven's rest or the spirit's wordless peace, or in bodies motionless like statues, fixed, entranced cessations of their sleepless thought, sat sleeping souls, and this too was a dream." Sri Aurobindo, Savitri, Book X, Canto 4. What does it mean, and this too was a dream? We cannot live with the mind always focused upon enjoying elated emotions or spiritual pleasures, with a heart fictitiously open to universal love but in reality hard and resistant like a stone. In this situation, our meditative state instead of a reality of enlightenment risks to resemble a chronic state of drowsiness. Those who want to live only in an heavenly dimension without any disturbance, want to live in illusion, a golden illusion, but in any case illusion. By virtue of a universal law, the very last phase of our spiritual path may contemplate a hard experience, that we share part of others' suffering. This event might imply a momentary loss of our spiritual realization. Indeed, this is a difficult test that only true love can justify. Such test must be overcome. But let us don't be desperate. There is a sentence attributed to the mythical Babaji, quoting Bhagavad Gita. Even a little bit of the practice of this inward religion will save you from dire fears and colossal sufferings. In my opinion, dire fears and colossal sufferings originates from the contact with the quagmires of collective unconscious. Well, the achievement of pranayam with internal breath will surely mitigate that suffering. Shall we be able to cross with untamed serenity the various layers of obscurity that are in us and in the mind of our brothers? The alternative is to wait that life itself exert upon us a sharp tug downward and force us to focus the attention on the body. Some spiritually minded people have forgotten the world and are lost in their dream. How can you explain their negative moods and depression? Sometimes they know the blackest desperation. Saint John of the Cross named that state the dark night of the soul. He explained that those souls feel as if God had suddenly abandoned them. They doubt the validity of their own spiritual path. Although their conscience is totally turned to God, they keep on believing they are sinners without any possibility of salvation. In a lengthy and profound absence of light and hope, even if they have the drive to go ahead with outward expressions of faith, they reach the stage where they doubt the existence of God. Therefore they feel irremediably impure, lost for eternity. It is also true, but less frequent, that there were souls who had not forgotten the world, rather they had no other goal than to diminish the suffering of their fellow creatures, and yet they have known the dark night of the soul. Well, I believe that such sufferings could be mitigated or even skipped by learning to guide their awareness into the cells of their body. Our body is our greatest protection. when it seems impossible to go back to that deep inspiration which time ago guided our steps toward the spiritual path, when the innocence seems lost and we see only a dark wall blocking definitively any effort of ours to consecrate our life to the divine, that is the moment to go down, with the method we feel more congenial, towards the cells of our body to meet the dimension, known to few, that the mother evoked describing the abysses of truth and the oceans of smile that are behind the august peaks of truth. By perfecting our pranayam with internal breath we come near an incomparable experience of perfect beauty, the divine immanent in matter. I believe that Sri Aurobindo was relating to this possibility when he wrote, "Now the wasteland, now the silence, a blank dark wall, and behind it heaven." Sri Aurobindo, from Journey's End. Final note. The concept of collective unconscious. The collective unconscious represents a part of our unconscious common to mankind as a whole. Jung introduced terminology which permits us to probe an aspect of the mystical path, which would otherwise risk being totally extraneous, not only to our capability of expression but also to our comprehension. Jung discovered that the human psyche is made up of layers or strata, parts of it shared by all humanity and called the collective unconscious. To Freud, the unconscious was similar to a depot full of old removed things that we cannot recall to consciousness refused by a nearly automatic act of the will. Jung discovered a deeper level of it, the collective unconscious, which links all human beings by the deepest layers of their psyche. The contents of the collective unconscious have never been part of our immediate conscious perception, and when an infinitesimal part of it bursts forth into our psyche, we are momentarily dismayed. However, the influence that the collective unconscious has upon our life is, in some occasion, vital. When we feel helpless as we deal with difficult problems, this deeper layer of our unconscious mind puts us in touch with the totality of human experience, a vast store of objective wisdom and perfect solutions. This can save us. A typical outcome of contacting the collective unconscious is to witness a countless series of meaningful coincidences. They happen in so many ways that we cannot even adumbrate. Jung put a basis for the rational study of this subject in his book Synchronicity, a causal connecting principle. To explain with simple terms what this is all about, we say that in addition to causality, that which acts in a linear direction of progression of time and puts in connection to phenomena that happen in the same space at different times, we hypothesize the existence of a principle, a causal, that puts in connection to phenomena that happen at the same time but in different spaces. The key point to emphasize is that they have a meaning that ties them together, and it is this fact that arouses deep emotion in the observer. Now, if two events happen simultaneously but in different spaces, it is clear that causality, cause-effect chain, one has caused the other or vice versa, is impossible. There would be nothing strange in these events of themselves, save one fact. The observer considers them as a meaningful coincidence, like a miracle, something that the universe wants to communicate to him. The observer is intimately touched by what is perceived as a manifestation of the mysterious dimension of life. An example will help us to better understand this concept. A youth moves a plant in a vase, which falls, breaks into pieces, and the young man looks at the wounded plant. He thinks with intensity about the moment when his girlfriend gave the vase to him as a present. There is emotion and pain in him. The event is feared as an omen. At the same time, his girlfriend, this will obviously come to be known subsequently, is writing him a letter to leave him and therefore to break their relationship. Here the characteristics of the Jungian synchronicity are observed. The two events happen simultaneously and are connected. Concerning the meaning, a vase breaks and a relationship is broken, but one is not the cause of the other. When, later, a youth discovers the contemporaneity of the two events, he is stunned. This is not telepathy or clairvoyance. In telepathy, a cause could be hypothesized, for example, the existence of cerebral waves transmitted from one person to another. In this case, no cause exists whatsoever. Jung explains that we are not able to realize what happens, we are too limited. We cannot see that in this situation there is only one event in a multi-dimensional reality. The two events are actually only one event, merely seen from two different points of view. When this happens, it is as if the world would talk to you. If it happens, and you notice it has happened, I only hope that you don't lose your wits and come to believe you are endowed with extraordinary powers. It doesn't deal with telepathy, clairvoyance. It is something very deep. You are opening your eyes on the wonders of the subtle laws of this universe.